ambiguity in the verse regarding the usage of the eye. Allah says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Tell the mu'mineen to lower their gaze. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that do not tell me that it does not affect your eye. I have created you. I know that when you look at the things that you are not supposed to look at, when you look at the nama, it is going to have an effect on you. So Allah's expectation from us is not to look at women or look at nama and still have no effect on our heart. His only expectation from us is that we lower our gaze. And people who realize how bad it is to misuse the eye, how bad it is for the heart, for the spirit, for the soul of the person. If you understand how far away a person goes from Allah when he misuses the eye, if he totally realizes this, then he will never misuse the eye. Such is the situation. The misuse of the eye is creating a social problem for societies. So there's an award-winning researcher by the name of Grant Brenner, and he did his research on the misuse of the eye. And apparently he is a professor at some university here. And he says that in his first research, he says he did research on 7,000 people. And he said that those people who misuse their eye, the biggest effect on the family is that if the man or the woman of the family, when they misuse their eye, their satisfaction level from their own partner decreases considerably. And then he writes down, he says that it is not as if somebody who misuses his eyes a lot, that person loses his satisfaction with his own partner. He said even if somebody misuses the eye even once a month, even if he watches pornographic material once a month, he will lose interest in his own partner. The second part of his research is, this is very surprising. He said those people who misuse their eye, they will eventually be lonely in the society. He said every unit of misusing the eye is associated with a certain unit of loneliness in the world. And it also makes sense, actually, that when you misuse your eye, you're actually lonely. And those who want to misuse their eye more and more, they'll have to actually separate from people. So his research revealed that those people who misuse their eye, they will eventually become lonely people. And the third part of his research was that those people who misuse their eye, out of the couples who live together, or who are married, people who misuse their eye, the chances of them getting divorced is twice the times of people who do not misuse the eye. So the misuse of the eye is actually creating one of the biggest social problems. It is breaking the family. So in the books there is an incident written about this narration about this young man. He was a very pious young man in the Indian subcontinent. And he wanted to learn the Quran and the Hadith. So he actually met with many different scholars. And he did a lot of research and he came to this conclusion that such and such an institution is one of the best in the whole of India. And that he should go and study there. He was from a very poor family, but he traveled all the way. And he went to that institution and he told them that deep desire to study Quran and Hadith. And if you teach me this. And they also found that this young man is very capable and he has a strong desire to learn the deen. So they gave him the admission. But they said that there's only one problem. We don't have enough room to give you to sleep in the night. So if you can make your own arrangements to spend the night, you can come to the madrasa, you can come to the institute, you can learn the deen, but at night we don't have space for you. He said, okay, let me check. He went to a nearby masjid, which was a small masjid, and he talked to the people in the masjid. He said, look, I have traveled from very far. My only purpose is to study the deen here. And the only problem in my study, the only obstacle is that they don't have space for me at night. So if you could let me sleep in the masjid in the night, then in the daytime I can go to the madrasa and study. And the people in the masjid, they agreed. Now every day he would study in the madrasa, and at night time he would sleep less. And in those times there was no electricity, so he would study in candlelight. So once he was studying in candlelight at the night, and he heard voices from outside. It was as if people were fighting with each other. And apparently people were like killing each other. And surprisingly, one young girl entered the masjid because he was a very pious young man. Immediately he said that in this masjid the rule is women can't enter the masjid. And she said, well, I didn't come in with my own will. There are people killing outside each other. People killing each other outside. I'm just here to seek refuge. I'm here, so once this whole thing gets over, then I'll leave. And he said that, no, I don't feel right that you have come inside the masjid. She said, well, I haven't come here with my own will. I leave as soon as this fighting that is going on ends. So then he said, okay, there's one condition. If you want to stay in the masjid and you are seeking refuge in the masjid, then the condition is that I will sit in one corner of the masjid. You will have to sit on the other corner of the masjid. And she said, fine, I don't mind. I just want to wait here till everything gets over. All of this fighting gets over, then I'll leave. So she sat down in one corner of the masjid, and he sat down on the other corner of the masjid. And then he started studying again in that candlelight with his book in his hand. And this girl was sitting on the other side, and she kept on looking at him, that while studying, after every few minutes, he would burn his finger in the candlelight. And then he would start studying again. Then he would burn his finger again in the candlelight. And he would start studying again. And he kept on doing this for a couple of hours till all of this fighting was over. And then finally, the fighting was over. So he's called out that now you can leave because there's no voice coming from outside. There's no noise outside. And she answers back that I will not leave till you give me an answer. Why were you burning your finger after every few minutes in this candlelight? He was a pious man, and he was sitting in the masjid. He did not lie. So he said the truth. But the truth is that after every few minutes, I would desire that I would look up and I would look at you. And before putting my head up, I would burn my finger and I would make myself remember the fire of the hell so that my head doesn't go up and so that I control my eyes. So those who realize what the condition, what bad condition you end up in terms of your spiritual heart, by misusing the eye, you will never ever misuse the eye. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us protect the eye. لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ولسانا ذاكرا وقلبا خاشعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. وصلى الله تعالى على حبيبه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا